All right, welcome back to Marnie's Marketing Mondays, and today we're going to be talking about writing web copy that sells. And I have twisted my husband's arm and made him come teach this class. Actually, it didn't take too much twisting. So, because this is his cup of tea. He's web content, corporate training, local search engine optimization, presentations, marketing strategies, white papers, business proposals, technical documentation, process analysis, improvement and training, storytelling, poetry, fiction. That's Dave's cup of tea and his specialty. So, and it's all about words, and he loves words. So he's worked with companies like Microsoft and Boeing and T-Mobile and Kimberly-Clark and AT&T and others, and for small customers like organic hair salons or startup software companies or healthcare practitioners. So he really enjoys helping people discover their messages and share them in a powerful way. So thank you, Dave, for hopping on here, and I'm going to let you take it from here.
All right. Well, the technical part of this, first of all, can everybody see me, hear me? Give me a thumbs up. Okay, good. And the next question is, I suppose, Marnie, if I need your assistance, because all I see is you.
Yeah, that's okay. I see you.
Okay.
So.
All right. So, does everybody, I guess the main question that I always like to start out with people is, does everybody have an elevator speech? Do you know what your business is that you can tell me in 15 seconds or less? Give me a thumbs up on that. Okay. So this morning I read something that Marnie had sent out. Marnie, do you want to punch that up on your screen? Can you do that, or should I do that?
You talking about that the gal posted on her wall?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can bring that up. I've got it coming up, I think. Hold on a second.
And the reason I'm bringing this up is that this is what most people do, and this is what has happened as we've gotten into corporate word generator speeches, and we're using basically, we're trying to fool the Google system, and we're trying to fool, we're just using basically corporate speak, and it ends up saying nothing. We're a group of experienced, talented, and successful and dedicated individuals that have come together for a single purpose: to be part of a unique culture that thrives on being complete and delivering the highest quality products and services to our clients through seamless integration in any complex or multifaceted situation. And then the woman goes on, and okay, you can close it now. The woman goes on and basically says, this makes my eyes bleed. Unfortunately, when most of the copy that I read from corporate speak, and particularly medium and smaller businesses, it sounds like that. And so when you're talking, when you're writing copy for anything, for emails, for your website, for a Yelp site, for Facebook, anything like that, I want you to think about, I always apply something called My Mother Lives in Oshkosh. Okay, do any of you know where Oshkosh is? Oshkosh, Wisconsin. And this has served me very well, even in talking to senior leaders in Microsoft and Boeing, because if I'm writing for a consumer audience and I review my training and I review the copy, and my mother, who lives in Oshkosh, who is 86 years old, can't understand it, I put myself into her mind and can't understand it, then I know I failed. Okay? So this is something that is the first criteria of anything that you write. Even if you're dealing with a technical audience, maybe you're writing to Don, who is a Boeing engineer. You have to put yourself into his mind and say, okay, Don, Boeing engineer, would you understand this? And if you don't, like this morning I was talking to my brother and he said something to the effect of the milliphysioma forms a symbiotic relationship with the salal berries, and so I try to substantiate that relationship as I'm working. He was talking about planting native native berries next to mushrooms so that they would grow better. Did you understand that out of that at all? Now he happens to be an engineer, so I gave him a little flack on it, but that's what we do sometimes, and we forget. We get in our own way of, we're an expert. We're experts at whatever we do. It might be poker, it might be daffodils, it might be whatever, and we forget that probably 90% of our audience is not an expert at what we do. They're an expert at what they do. So in putting your elevator speech together, I want you to think about, who is my audience? Not what do I know, what are the big words that I can come up with, but who is my audience? And right to that point. Okay? So that's point one. The second point is, as you saw on that thing that we just shared, and so Marnie, how would I share my screen? Because I want to show them something else.
At the bottom, if you hover down to the bottom, there'll be a menu that comes up and it says share screen.
Yep. Okay. And I'm going to share my desktop. Sorry, I'm just learning the technical part of this.
You got it.
Okay, you see some beautiful plants, and here we go. So one of my absolute favorite websites is restaurant.com. And I can always go on restaurant.com and tell if somebody has written their copy or if somebody is just letting restaurant.com write their copy. So I'm looking here on Battlefield Burgers. Down at the bottom, it says highlights. Looking for the perfect place to end your long day? Look no further. The Battlefield Burger Restaurant will welcome you with its friendly service and aromatic Battlefield Burgers kitchen. Okay, great. Sounds like a wonderful place to go relax. In fact, one of their other highlights said, come here and relax after a long day. Marnie, do you see anything wrong with this copy?
Well,
because you know Battlefield Burgers.
Battlefield Burgers is just a little drive-through, so you're probably not going to smell their aromatic kitchen.
Exactly.
Unless it's through the drive-through window.
There's no place to sit. You drive through it. They have fantastic burgers, but it's a drive-through. Okay? Here's another one, and I hope this is okay to use these as examples, because I hope to get you thinking about what your own copy should be. So this is Tres Amigos. I know somebody who knows I know somebody who knows the owner. We have the best food around and an atmosphere to match. Try us and you'll be convinced. The ingredients are always fresh. Is there anything in this copy at all that has told you anything unique about this place? Nothing whatsoever. Okay? So when we talk about this type of thing, and let me see if I can figure out how to stop share. I'll do that. There we go. When we talk about this place, when we talk about our own copy, we have to say, okay, what is it specifically that makes my place unique? I'm going to pick on Joanne because I know nothing about her business, although I probably should, but Marnie doesn't talk about any of you other than in generic terms that you all love her and that you're all excited that I came into her life, and that's about it. So tell me, Joanne, what you do. You listen to Irish music. Now that was Christine, I bet.
Mm-hmm.
So give me your elevator speech, Joanne, please. You're on mute.
Your audio's not working, Joanne. It doesn't say you're on mute, but your audio's not working.
Yeah, your audio's not working. So I'll pick on the Irish lady, Christine.
Okay.
Not to reject you, Joanne, but if I can't hear you, I can't hear you. So.
And we'll say Celtic instead of Irish, okay?
Okay.
Okay. My elevator speech is, I help women utilize menopause as a chance to consider new possibilities today and for the second half of their lives.
Oh, that is so awesome. Okay, you can log out now because I have nothing to tell you.
But it doesn't tell them what I do.
That is true. I was just going to say that. Mm-hmm. So the question I want to ask is, you help them. Are you a doctor? Are you an OBGYN? Are you a medical therapist? Are you a drug dealer? Are you a midlife crisis coach? What are you exactly?
Okay, I'm a women's wellness coach and energy therapist.
Awesome. So that gives me a lot. So I'm a women's wellness coach and energy therapist who specializes in menopausal angry women, you know. Boy, that was just, oh man, did I just come out as being misogynistic on that thing? I apologize.
Spoken like a man with a wife going through menopause.
Is there, Christine, in yours, is there there's sound on Joanne, maybe now, maybe not. Christine, on yours, is there a specific location?
No, because I work virtually. I do have a home office, but I work virtually also.
Okay. So you may want to put that in your description as well, that you're some sort of virtual coach or online coach or something like that. And the reason I bring that up is because part of what we need to figure out in our business is, are we location specific? When I used to teach this class as a hard and fast class, not virtual, when I was physically in a location, people would always talk about, well, my website is getting, a gazillion hits. And one of the things that we have to determine is, are we local or not? I had a client who owned an organic hair salon in Seattle, and specifically in the Ballard neighborhood. People would drive a fair distance to go to her, but most of her clients lived in North Seattle area. And so for her to get a gazillion hits was foolish because on her website, because a lot of those would be coming in from Poughkeepsie or Oshkosh or Ringgold, Georgia, or, San Diego or whatever. It did her absolutely no good. You, for example, Christine, you're worldwide, so you don't have to have that's not a specific need for you. And I don't know where Carolyn and Joanne are. For example, Marnie and my services can go nationwide, international. So we don't talk about particularly being location specific. One of our clients is a Jacksonville, Florida skilled nursing facility, senior living, basically. And I've been working on their website, and one of the things that I noticed is they talk about what a great skilled nursing facility is, all the therapy they have and all these things that they offer, and they're fabulous, but they don't talk a lot on their subpages about where they're located. And that's really important because people in Oshkosh are not going to go to Jacksonville more than likely to do a skilled nursing thing. So do you see what I'm saying here? So decide if you are, location specific. Location matters. And get. So do we have any questions so far? How are we doing on that concept? Joanne, you can take yourself off of mute because I think there was some sound before. Do you want to move your lips? Nope, still can't hear you. Never mind. Marnie, what does Joanne do?
On mute.
Marnie, do you know what Joanne does? And now I can't hear you.
Oh, she's the tax
There we
lien
go.
lady. She helps people invest in tax liens.
Okay. So again, you're nationwide, right?
Sometimes she specializes
And so
on tax liens in specific states, though. But I guess you could do them from anywhere. Can't
Okay.
you?
And Judy texted a question that said, so how do you word it? Judy, tell me a little bit more about what you mean by that question. And I don't even see Judy.
If you're not location specific, would you say you're global, or would you say worldwide, or would you just ignore it and assume anybody would come to your site?
Yeah, if you're not location specific, absolutely ignore it. Unless you find yourself stuck in a location. But if you're doing, I can't remember what you were doing, but I remember that was like some financial thing. And you're United States specific, you might want to mention that. But even that's taking up word space. It's only important, for example, it's not important for Christine. So, she doesn't need to pick up word space like that. So maybe with all of your audiences, this is a key thing. I didn't know my audience going in. I apologize.
Actually, hey, Dave. Okay, so
Yeah.
we've got a couple people here, like say Judy and Donna, who their message could be sold worldwide, but they want to build local speaking. Like
Okay.
Judy, you're up for speaking locally, right? Or can you do that?
I can only communicate through the internet. That would be webinars. I would.
Okay. I didn't know if you could get booked for a speaking engagement and just tell them our speaker can't have any, perfumes. Don't wear perfume to this event. You know what I mean? I mean, you could I just didn't know if you could do that kind of thing and stay local or not.
But on the flip side, you may want to say something like virtual. That may be actually for Christine, for example. I'm thinking, as you're talking about menopausal, postmenopausal women being a life coach, you can throw in, I'm a virtual life coach. That gives them the opportunity, and you can actually have a whole paragraph later on another page that says, you and I can sit together in our pajamas and our slippers and drink coffee and hot chocolate in the comfort of, you'll be sitting on your couch, I'll be sitting on my couch 1,000 miles away, and we'll still be able to have this great discussion, and I'll be able to help you out. And you can actually create something about that, around that. As I do writing coaching, particularly people who are writing about nature or creativity, I'm going to go out on my deck and, be able to show them, hey, this is where I live. Here are the woods. Let's talk about, going out into nature and observing what you want to see and what you want to write about. And that's going to be a selling point and a relationship for them, because you want your customers to somehow feel comfortable. So go ahead and put something in that. Tell me again what Joanne does.
I think I got my
Hey,
Yay!
microphone fixed. I had a setting that wasn't set right. What I do is I help middle-aged people who want to get better returns on their money without the risk of the stock market.
awesome.
And I help them with tax lien investing.
Okay. And that's obviously in the United States because it's probably not a worldwide thing, I'm guessing.
It does only happen in the United States and Canada. However, I do have people worldwide. As a matter of fact, I have a group of Italians that want to translate my stuff into Italian and sell it in the Italian market.
Awesome.
There's people in other, because there's been other people in my industry who have gone out into the world and sold it as a good thing for foreigners to do, although it's not as easy as they make it sound. So one of my things that sets me apart from everybody else is my integrity and honesty. I'm not going to tell you what you want to hear. I'm going to tell you the truth. So I'm not going to sugarcoat it.
Okay. So in your description, you're not only going to say something about United States tax liens serving a worldwide investment community, right?
Okay, I got to write this down. I know we're recording this.
Did y'all see what I did there? I very specifically said, this is what she's doing. She's doing tax liens in the United States. You're probably not doing German tax liens, I'm guessing. But she clarified to me that foreign investors can invest in U.S. tax liens.
Right.
So she's dealing with foreign investors, a worldwide investment audience focusing on United States tax liens.
Can you repeat what you said? Because you said it very concisely.
I totally cannot. Can anybody else remember what I said? It was something like investing in United States tax liens to a worldwide, helping invest in tax liens to a worldwide investment audience or something like that.
Yeah, it started out with U.S.
That wasn't it because that uses investment twice. But
yeah, it was U.S. tax lien investing
for a worldwide
audience.
Worldwide audience. I got it.
Investment audience or something like that.
Yeah.
All right, I'll listen. I'll get it. Okay.
So
we're about 25 minutes in, roughly. So you get or 20. Check around 20 minutes.
So probably just to close out, one of the things that I wanted to talk about, and this kind of gets to it, is anytime you write copy for a website or for Facebook or anything like that, try to figure out what your benefits are and what differentiates you. And I hate to say this, Joanne, but saying that you're honest and full of integrity, 90% of your readership is probably going to call BS, even though you are. Now, but this is key. If you can get, and this goes for all of you, one of the most, probably the single most powerful thing that you can get is testimonials.
Mm-hmm.
And do you all know how to get testimonials? I'm going to give you a secret, which you may already know, and then it won't be that much of a secret. But when you get testimonials, when you ask people, first of all, most people, if they're pleased with your services, are very happy to give you testimonials. And there's a way to prime the pump when you get testimonials. Call up Marnie or whoever who's going to give you a testimonial and say, Marnie, I'm kind of working on my Facebook and my social media marketing and my website, and I was wondering if you could give me a testimonial, something like, Dave helped me with my Facebook content and used keywords, and I noticed an increase right away in people visiting my blog and signing up for my services. You know, just something like that. Now, I have planted a seed in Marnie's mind about what she's going to say. I didn't tell her, say this and just put your signature on it. But she's probably going to track at least 20 to 30% of what I said and somehow put it into her own words. So, Joanne, if you're dealing with a customer who you know, one of the things in your conversation has been that they have said, you know, Joanne, I appreciate that you are just honest and I just feel like you're full of integrity. You know, go back to that. Say, hey, Joe, when, you know, could you write me a testimonial? Remember we were talking the other day and, you know, you said that I was honest and full of integrity. Just write something. So you've just subtly put something in his mind that he's going to come back. Then having Joe say, Joanne is honest and full of integrity and a very vicious, that has so much more power than having you stand up and say, I'm honest, you know. It almost makes me feel like a car salesman. I'm honest, Joanne, you can trust me. $9.95 gets you into a new tax lien investment. But get testimonials.
Okay. Yeah. I've got a few, and a lot of people, they'll email me and tell me, you know, I want to work with you because I feel like, you know, you're the most trustworthy person out there, and that's a good way. I think what I need to do is like email those people back and say, oh, you know, could you write me a testimonial about that? You know, because they don't always write it in a way that I can use. So
if they write you an email, even if it's a little sloppy, you know, just say, could I use this? And they'll generally go back and self-edit.
Okay.
Say, wow, that was such a fantastic thing that you wrote. Would you mind if I used that or something like it on my blog, or, you know, as
all right, great, because I get emails like that all the time. And the other thing is I do these strategy sessions and I haven't been recording them. I've got to start recording them because people tell me that, and sometimes in the strategy sessions, and then I could get an audio.
And then you pull that and you pull that back. And even if they're uncomfortable using their name, ask them, hey, would it be okay if I used your first name, last initial, and your city?
Right, yeah.
So Marnie K, Ringgold, Georgia. That's fine. And if it's important, for example, Christine, you may consider Marnie K, 52-year-old writer, Ringgold, Georgia. Joanne, you may say something like, you know, Sam P, retired, I don't know, retired U.S. Army officer.
Yeah.
Atlanta, Georgia, or something. I don't know.
I do sometimes put their occupation in there.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, good. And Christine said, I have people who ask me to edit their testimonial. I add occupation. Perfect. Yeah. Give them something, have them talk about something that's relevant to, you know, if somebody was doing a testimonial about how great your pies were, it's not particularly relevant that they're a retired U.S. Army officer. But if their hobby is baking or, you know, something like that, then you'd put that in. Okay, and so to wrap this up, the other thing that I want you to remember is long-tailed, this is a new phrase I'm going to teach you, long-tailed keywords. So here's an example. Seniors, that's a keyword. Senior living, that's a tighter keyword. Senior assisted living, that's an even tighter keyword phrase. So when we think of keywords, keywords don't necessarily need to be one word. It's kind of like a hashtag. Jacksonville senior assisted living and physical therapy. That's an extremely long-tailed keyword, but it will get me absolutely my audience. Because I don't care if somebody's looking for senior assisted living and physical therapy in Oshkosh. That's not my market. I want somebody in Jacksonville. So, you know, if for example, Joanne, you're working on a particular type of tax lien that you want to increase your audience in, I don't know, real estate tax. So do you do real estate tax liens?
They
such
are
a thing?
Yeah, they are real estate tax liens.
Okay.
And I normally do use phrases. For instance, like buying tax liens online, or on, if I'm dealing with a particular state, I'll use that. But what you made me think of is to use the word U.S. tax lien investing instead of just tax lien investing.
Right. And you may also, and I don't know if you do this, I actually used to be in real estate syndication marketing and did a bunch of real estate conferences. And I don't know if this is appropriate or not, but you may want to, if you're doing a particular type of tax liens, if they're residential, if they're multifamily residential, if they're, strip mall, shopping center, all that type of industrial, commercial, very focused on commercial real estate, Southwest U.S. commercial real estate tax lien investing.
Yeah, I don't do that.
Okay. But you see where I hope the rest of you see
too limited. Yeah.
Where I'm going.
I see what you're talking about. Yeah.
Are yours residential real estate most of the time?
No, it could be anything. It actually could be anything. Sometimes, I might have, recently people have asked me about utility liens, which in some states are sold in tax lien sales. So I might have that as a keyword, utility tax liens or utility liens.
So that's a perfect example. Yep.
Right.
Well, could she do blog posts that are specifically about, like, if you do all those things, fine, and you don't want to pinpoint, but could you do a blog post, this one's about residential real estate tax liens. This one's about commercial real estate tax lien. You know what I mean? Just where you talk about it so that when people search and they're looking for one specific, at least you would come up, or would it be to her benefit to do that?
Yeah, and I was actually going to suggest that, because one of the things that we do in copywriting is we want our copy to be current and to be tight, relevant, focused. And so the more focused that you can become in your copy, if you can do utility tax liens, that gives you a whole different topic. I mean, for example, I'm working on a blog called Nature's Guy. Well, what does that mean exactly? This morning, my brother and I talked about, he planted a bunch of salal berries, which is a Native American herb and all that kind of thing. And that is so tightly focused, it's almost too tightly focused. But somewhere in the middle between planting your yard and planting wild berries in your yard is the sweet spot there. and it gives you the opportunity to say, hey, I'm going to talk about utilities, and it may be the copy may be 90% of what you use somewhere else.
Yeah, you gave me some ideas, not only about the utility liens, but with tax deed sales. Sometimes there are tax deeds on timeshares, so that could another.
And that would be a hot topic because people are always trying to figure out what to do with timeshares, pro and con. Christine, you could do something on dealing with menopause as a career woman, dealing with menopause as a mother of teenagers, dealing with menopause as a single woman, dealing with menopause as a married woman. I mean, there's all sorts of things that, you could even write, how kids can deal with a mother going through menopause, how husbands can deal, how boyfriends can deal with, because don't forget, part of your audience, Joanne's laughing, part of your audience,
because I'm somebody who
is the poor suckers that are at the barrel end of that. If I'm sitting there and Marnie's having a terrible or menopausal meltdown, I'm going to be online going, okay, how do I deal with this woman? Oh, hey, honey, do you want to call up Christine? She offers this service. I'll pay for it. There's another client maybe you didn't even think of. I don't know.
Well, I
have men that are clients too.
Pardon?
I have men that are clients too. So
yeah.
Menopausal meltdown. He just gave you a keeper phrase. Mm-hmm. Are you a man dealing with menopausal meltdown?
That's awesome. Thank you for pointing that out.
Thank you.
And Christine says, do you want some Salberry starts? I have to check with where do you live, Christine?
I'm 30 minutes away from the Vashon Ferry.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So my brother lives on Vashon.
Yes.
So we were talking about that, and I have to check with Georgia Extension, University of Georgia Extension, because I don't want to be bringing stuff in from the Northwest,
right?
That's not indigenous and that would just take over.
Yeah, I don't think so, but who knows?
Yeah. So so anyway, back to what we were talking about. Long-tailed keywords. The longer, the more focused you can get, then the better your writing is going to be. And remember, in all of your writing, go through and say, what's the benefit to this sentence? Because it either needs to be telling your audience a benefit or setting it up for the next sentence or the next paragraph or something to give them a benefit. Or it needs to be a call to action. Do you all understand what call to actions are?
Mm-hmm.
They better by now.
You would not believe how many people write copy, and then you get to the end of it and they say, and then you're looking at it going, okay, now what do I do? If you can't answer that question after you read your own copy, what is my mother in Oshkosh going to do now? And make it really simple for her to do that. Click here, call this number, sign up for, Marnie and I just dealt again with this thing in Jacksonville, and they didn't even have a anywhere on their front that said sign up for. I mean, it was way down below the fold. Okay, another phrase. Do y'all know what the fold is?
Yeah.
You have to move.
Okay. It comes from the direct marketing thing, is
right.
You'd open something up or you'd see something, and if you had to open it up to read the whole thing, then below the fold. And in this case, with online stuff, it's anything that you have to scroll down to is probably going to be lost on a fairly significant part of your readership. You need to have something on the page that they open up to that says, here it is. One last point, because this has also come up, and Marnie, again, may have mentioned this, but remember, if you're doing a blog, if you're doing a website, if you're doing Facebook, whatever it happens to be that you're doing, because I cannot tell you how often I see this, you'll go to somebody's second or third or 10th page in, I'll pick on Christine, and it will say something like, here's a highly successful example of something I did the other day with a friend of mine. And we all assume that people are coming in through the front door and they're reading everything that gets to where we are today. Joanne, you would probably have the same type of issue. 3 or 4 or 5, 10 pages in, you'd say something like, thus we see that these type of investments are really profitable. The problem is not everybody comes through the front door. It's called the web for a reason. Think of it as a spider's web. A fly can fly into that spider's web and they don't always go right in the center. They can go way the heck out in the corner somewhere. And you have to make sure that everything that you write has some sort of reference to what you do and how they can get information. Because they may just come in off of some willy-nilly search and find your 10th page. And if you don't have some sort of way for them to reach you, then you're going to lose them.
So are you referring to like a blog post or a Facebook post? Everything should have a call to action?
Either a call to action or a link to a call to, or a lead to a call to action page, which would also be a call to action. Go here. Marnie, do you agree or disagree with that? You can disagree, because I know who Christine is now and I can contact her. And you can take yourself off of mute when you disagree.
I said I agree. I'm not saying that I always remember to do it, but yeah, I agree. It looked like Judy had a question. If I offer free strategy sessions, what language should I use to draw them to want it and say yes of my specific avatar, not unqualified? I'm not sure what that meant. Marnie does sessions well. I'm shy and unsure,
Hi.
she says. So what do you're saying, how do you get them to sign up for a strategy session? Is that what you're asking,
Yes,
Judy?
what words would magnetize them to that? Either if I do it on a website or do it on Facebook or however I want to reach them. And maybe Dave has some ideas of how to reach them.
Definitely need
So
to speak
tell me
the
what you-
benefits.
Tell me what you do.
All right, I'm going to read what you told me to write to be more specific. But I'm a virtual self-esteem dream coach, and I help women learn their value in God's eyes. And that's pretty generic, and it doesn't say, so what? If you learn your value, so what do you do with that?
Actually, that's very moving copy to me. I like that a lot. So what do they do after they learn it?
Exactly. So if I were going to go 10 seconds over my elevator, 30 seconds, I'd say, so you can flourish, or so you can, I don't like live a life you love, because I'm not sure people ever get to that point where they can live a life
Right.
they love. That to me is important.
Okay, so So read that sentence again and throw in the word flourish.
Okay. A virtual self-esteem dream coach, and I help women learn their value in God's eyes so they can flourish.
That works for me. Anybody else have comments on that?
I was just going to add the word co-create with God, a flourishing life.
That's good. Because people who are in that realm get empowered by being partners with God. People who people who don't understand God or don't have that relationship with him, that would not speak to them at all. They'd be like, well, I don't need God. But people who have that relationship, they get lit up by co-creating, by being partners with, by having that relationship. Yeah, I think what you wrote was really good.
You do. I thought you were going to chop.
It truly touched my heart. It did. And that's hard to do. In a marketing realm. I tend to be somewhat cynical. And when you read it, I was like, wow, that's powerful.
Well, Dave, that means a lot. Thank you.
So I want you to go through what you just wrote on your iPad to everyone and take out the last 5 words.
Oh, they were negative towards me.
I'm very shy and unsure. Now I'm going to call BS on that.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Marnie would do that, and boy, you better believe I'd do that to her if she said it.
Exactly. And that's something that we can really do every time we read our copy, is we can ask ourselves, how would this come across to Marnie? How would this come across to a good friend of mine? How would this come across to somebody who loves me, who's somebody who cares about? Or how would it come across to business people? Does it sound arrogant? Does it sound self-assured? Does it sound shy and unsure? Because what you wrote, Judy, did not sound shy and unsure at all. It sounded powerful and confident.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Did you learn anything? Is this beneficial?
Oh, yeah. Definitely. And it's
Marnie's
fun to see the two of you
smiling.
work together, too. That's always a treat.
Try to talk him into doing more.
Good do. You can put these in your archives of topics.
So, Dave, if they wanted some help with their copy, how would they do that?
They can just contact you and say, hey, have Dave contact me for copy help, or you can write me at my email, da.kuhns@gmail.com. And soon Marnie and I will probably have our own corporate emails set up so that we can be, we're still working on how we, I don't even know what kind of salsa she likes on her nachos yet. So we're dealing with things as they, in order of priority. I mean, she told me right before we got married that if I didn't have hot running water, she wasn't gonna move in after the wedding. I was like, what? I mean, how does that work? But
Works well for a woman.
Gotta have
especially when
boundaries,
it's
right?
menopausal. Better relieve it. I was like, you could be living in a tent. I'd move in with you. She looked at me.
A woman who knows what she wants. Warm water.
Yeah. I offered to make her breakfast this morning, and she looked at me and she said, "No, I think peach instant oatmeal will be just fine." I was like, "Wow, I make really good omelets." But apparently, I've been usurped by peach instant oatmeal.
He does. He makes wonderful omelets. But anyway, I'm on an oatmeal kick. So, all right.